Good morning, fourth grade. We are ready for math lesson 154. We're going to start off with our concept cards this morning. So give the answer and see how many you can get correct. First of all, what is this? Intersecting lines. Two angles that are the same. Congruent angles. Right angle. Ray, line, line segment, point, polygon, simple closed curve, perpendicular lines, parallel lines, triangle, rhombus, parallelogram, trapezoid. 1 centimeter equals how many millimeters? 10. 1 meter equals how many millimeters? 1,000. 1 kilometer equals how many meters? 1,000. 1 hectometer equals how many meters? 100. 1 decameter equals how many meters? 10. 1 meter equals how many decimeters? 10. Hecto means 100. Deca means 10. Milla means 1,000th. Centa means 100th. Deci means 1/10. Kilo means 1,000. Normal body temperature Celsius is 37 degrees. Freezing point of water Celsius is 0 degrees. Boiling point of water Celsius is 100 degrees. Normal body temperature Fahrenheit is 98.6 degrees. Boiling point of water Fahrenheit is 212 degrees. Freezing point of water Fahrenheit, 32 degrees. And let's go over place value here. What place is this right here? Ones place, tens, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and 1 million. Okay, in our lesson today, we're talking about how to find perimeter. So, what is perimeter? What does that even mean? I'm just going to write out the word here. Now, if you look at the word perimeter, here is the word meter. What does that mean? Meter means length, right? The measurement of length. So, what do you think perimeter is? It's the same thing, length. When we measure perimeter, we are measuring the length of something. So, perimeter measures the length around a polygon. Learn what a polygon is, a closed figure made of line segments that do not intersect. So, perimeter measures the length around a polygon. Now, if you think about maybe the floor of our classroom, or like what shape is that? What shape is the floor of our classroom? It's a rectangle, right? Now, to find the perimeter of that, we would have to add all of the sides together, okay? Because remember, a rectangle is a polygon. and perimeter is measuring the length around. So we would have to measure the length of all of the sides of our classroom and add them together. Now, because on a rectangle, we just draw a rectangle here. So because on a rectangle, we have the two sides of length are the same length, and the two widths are the same width. To find the distance around, or to find the perimeter, we can just take the length of one side and multiply it by 2 because there's 2 of them. And we can take the width of one side and multiply it by 2 because there's 2 of them as well. Then we just add them together. And that gives us the perimeter of our rectangle. Now, there's what we call a formula that we can use that tells us how to do that. Now, what is a formula? A formula is kind of like a recipe. Did you ever use a recipe to make something, or your mom uses recipes to cook in the kitchen? So, if your mom makes a certain kind of food and she doesn't follow a recipe, unless she's really good, she's done it a lot of times, which I'm sure that happens. But if it's something new and you make it, and then the next time you don't follow your recipe, it's probably going to turn out differently, right? So formulas are kind of the same. Formulas, if we follow them, then our problems can turn out correctly. Also, if your mom wants to make cookies, she doesn't go and get the recipe for chocolate cake, right? Because then she wouldn't have her cookies. So we have to not only use our formula, which is like a recipe, but we have to use the correct formula. So the formula for finding the perimeter of a rectangle is this. P stands for perimeter. We talked about how we need to take the length and multiply it by 2. So we write 2 times L, because that means 2 times the length. And then we said we have to add that to the widths. So we take, there are 2 widths that are the same as well. So we're going to go 2 times the width. Okay? And then we're going to add them together. And that tells us the perimeter of a rectangle. So P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. This is our formula for this. Now let's use our formula to find the perimeter of a rectangle whose length is 8 feet and the width is 6 feet. So we know if the length is 8 feet on one side, it's the same on the other side. So we're just going to copy this down. P equals 2 times 8, because that's the length. Just copy your formula, plus 2 times 6, because those are the widths. Now, when we're using our formula, if we have parentheses, we need to work that first. So we have P equals, what is 2 times 8? 16. And then what is 2 times 6? What does that equal? 12. So now we worked in our parentheses, and now we need to add them together. P equals 28. 16 plus 12 is 28. And we're measuring feet. Make sure you remember to write down your unit. So the perimeter of our rectangle is 28 feet. Okay, so let's just try that one more time here. If we have a rectangle whose measurements are 19 inches and 7 inches, our formula is the same for finding the perimeter. So we have P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Now we're just going to put the length in place of L and the width in place of W. So P equals 2 times 19 plus 2 times 7. Now multiply here. P equals 19 times 2 is 38. So we have 38 plus 2 times 7 equals 14. Now P equals 38 plus 14. We just need to add them together. 12 and 5. So 52. We did the parentheses, what was inside of the parentheses first, and then we added them together. So now we have 52 inches is our answer. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 52 inches. That's the length around the whole outside. So in your lesson today, first of all, you're finding the perimeter of various shapes in number 1. And remember, perimeter is the distance around. So for those shapes, you're going to just add all the sides together. But in number 2, you have rectangles, and we learned a formula that we can use to find the perimeter of a rectangle. So you need to copy down your formula every time you're finding the perimeter of a rectangle. Do not just add the sides together in your head. You need to learn this formula so that you remember it. So every time you work one of these, you need to write down the formula and write down every step. Okay, write down your formula, then copy in your numbers, and then do your third line and your answer. You should have those lines for every single problem. All 6 problems in number 2. Copy down the formula and work through it. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and let's just quick review our equations here yet. Remember, an equation is something in which both sides are equal. To solve an algebraic equation where we have an unknown letter, we solve the side we know first. We want to get x by itself, so we have to get rid of our other number. Because we had plus 5, we subtracted 5, which leaves us with x by itself. What we did to one side, we have to do to the other side. Now we're left with 13 here. And to check if x actually equals 13, we're going to write our equation out again. And instead of writing x, like I just did, we're going to put 13 in place of x and see if it came out correctly. So 13 plus 5 is 18. 6 times 3 is 18. So x does equal 13. Again, work your lesson carefully. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in language class.